Ever since they were first identified in the 1800s, dinosaurs have sparked the imagination of kids and adults alike. Explore the history of these prehistoric reptiles and find out how museum science continues to reveal insights about what dinosaurs looked like and how they lived. The Triassic period marked the beginning of major changes that were to take place throughout the Mesozoic era, particularly in the distribution of continents, the evolution of life, and the geographic distribution of living things. At the beginning of the Triassic, virtually all the major land masses of the world were collected into the supercontinent of Pangaea. Terrestrial climates were predominantly warm and dry and the Earth's crust was relatively quiescent. At the end of the Triassic, however, plate tectonic activity picked up and a period of continental rifting began. On the margins of the continents, shallow seas which had dwindled in area at the end of the Permian, became more extensive as sea levels gradually rose. The waters of continental shelves were colonized for the first time by large marine reptiles and reef-building corals of modern aspect. Bookended by extinctions, this era saw huge shifts in the diversity and dominance of life on Earth, ushering in the appearance of many well-known groups of animals that would go on to rule the planet for tens of millions of years. The Triassic period began after Earth's worst ever extinction event devastated life. The Permian-Triassic extinction event, also known as the Great Dying, took place roughly 252 million years ago and was one of the most significant events in the history of our planet. The first mammals evolved near the end of the Triassic period from the nearly extinct therapsids. Scientists have some difficulty in distinguishing where exactly the dividing line between therapsids and early mammals should be drawn. Early mammals of the late Triassic and early Jurassic were very small, rarely more than a few inches in length. They were mainly herbivores or insectivores and therefore were not in direct competition with the archosaurs or later dinosaurs. Plants and insects did not go through any extensive evolutionary advances during the Triassic. Due to the dry climate, the interior of Pangaea was mostly desert. Mosses and ferns survived in coastal regions. Spiders, scorpions, millipedes and centipedes survived, as well as the newer groups of beetles. The only new insect group of the Triassic was the grasshoppers. The Triassic closed in the same way it began. Something, perhaps a volcanic belch or an asteroid collision, caused another mass extinction. However, dinosaurs survived, and went on to dominate the Jurassic. Jurassic Period, second of three periods of the Mesozoic era. Extending from 201.3 million to 145 million years ago, it immediately followed the Triassic Period and was succeeded by the Cretaceous Period. The Morrison Formation of the United States and the Sonthofen Limestone of Germany, both famous for their exceptionally well-preserved fossils, are geologic features that were formed during Jurassic times. The Jurassic was a time of significant global change in continental configurations, oceanographic patterns and biological systems. During this period the supercontinent Pangaea split apart, allowing for the eventual development of what are now the Central Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Heightened plate tectonic movement led to significant volcanic activity, mountain building events, and attachment of islands onto continents. Shallow seaways covered many continents, and marine and marginal marine sediments were deposited, preserving a diverse set of fossils. During the early Jurassic, animals and plants living both on land and in the seas recovered from one of the largest mass extinctions in Earth history. Many groups of vertebrate and invertebrate organisms important in the modern world made their first appearance during the Jurassic. Life was especially diverse in the ocean's thriving reef ecosystems, shallow water invertebrate communities, and large swimming predators, including reptiles and squid-like animals. On land, dinosaurs and flying pterosaurs dominated the ecosystems, and birds made their first appearance. Early mammals also were present, though they were still fairly insignificant. Allosaurus was one of many Jurassic dinosaurs discovered in the Morrison Formation, located in the western United States. It was named by famous fossil collector Othniel Charles Marsh. Most Allosaurus specimens have been found in the USA, but Allosaurus fossils have also been discovered in Portugal. Allosaurus was a large, bipedal theropod. It was an apex predator that would have preyed on sauropods and stegosauria such as Stegosaurus. For a long time, Diplodocus claimed to fame was being the longest land-dwelling dinosaur. It is named for the structure of the bones on the underside of its colossal tail. Diplodocus had a long neck that it would have used to reach high and low vegetation and to drink water. You might know the Cretaceous period for big animals such as Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops, or for being the end of the Age of Dinosaurs. The Cretaceous is a geological period that began 145 million years ago and ended 66 million years ago. It is the last period in the Mesozoic era. It comes after the Jurassic Period and before the Paleogene, the first period of the Cenozoic era, our current era. It lasted a long time, nearly 80 million years, making it the longest geological period of the Phanerozoic eon, which began some 539 million years ago. Our planet's continents were once joined together into one supercontinent called Pangaea. It formed about 335 million years ago, but by the end of the Jurassic, this single landmass had begun to break apart. Back then Earth was a lot warmer than it is today, and there was little or no ice at the North Pole or South Pole. Sea levels fluctuated but were in the most part high. In fact, at times sea levels were 170 meters higher than today. The plant life of the Cretaceous was quite different to that of today. For example, temperate rainforest grew close to the poles, which back then were ice-free. Today, about 90% of plants are flowering plants, also known as angiosperms. While the origin of flowering plants may go back as far as the Triassic period, we don't see much evidence of them in the fossil record at the start of the Cretaceous. However, by the end of the Cretaceous, angiosperms made up a much more prominent part of the planet's plant life. When it comes to Cretaceous dinosaurs, we often think of Triceratops and Rex, though these dinosaurs only lived at the end of the period, around 68 to 66 million years ago. Tyrannosaurus lives up to its reputation as one of the most fearsome animals of all time. Its powerful jaws had 60 teeth, each one up to 20 centimeters long, and its bite was around 3 times as powerful than that of a lion. The Tyrannosaurus skull was over 1.5 meters long, and the cavity that housed the part of the brain responsible for smell was relatively large. Tyrannosaurus would have used its good sense of smell to hunt live prey and locate dead bodies to scavenge. It would have been able to scare off any other scavengers. "66 million years ago, dinosaurs continue their normal lives until they see something strange in the sky. A 10 kilometers wide asteroid that is going to hit the Gulf of Mexico." 66 million years ago, dinosaurs had the ultimate bad day. With a devastating asteroid impact, a reign that had lasted 180 million years was abruptly ended.